Hello, busy dads and busy people everywhere. Welcome to episode 6 of the Busy Dad podcast. This is the show where I have the privilege of sitting down with fellow burpee practitioners and hearing their stories. Today, I am joined by my fellow busy dad, Matthew. Matthew, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Welcome, everyone.
It's great to see you, my friend. We've been looking forward to having this conversation. Matthew and I have known each other about 6 months now. We've been working together very closely. It's been a real joy for me to be part of Matthew's practice, and I know that he's got all kinds of wisdom to share, and it's going to be really beneficial for us to hear his story. And so I think, Matthew, our first order of business is to get that story out there. Can you tell people, give people a sense of where you were when you arrived at the Busy Dad program? Where were you at in your life, in your training life, and how did you discover the program?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I'm a busy dad. My kids are a bit older. I've got a son who's 17 and my daughter's now 15. And just let you guys know out there, they still keep you busy even when they're older. So for all you guys with younger kids, don't worry, you'll still be busy when they're older. The way I come across the program, bit of background, I spent 20 years working in an office and it ended up giving me, I suppose, not the ideal physique. I put on lots of weight. I went up to 106 kilograms and had all sort of postural issues. My current job now, I work for, I coach judo, and that's my passion. And it ranges from kids from 3 to 4 up to adults. And we even have a class for Jurassic judo for people who are older at a club, UNSW Judo Club. It's the biggest in Australia. And what was happening is that I was getting, my body was starting to give me signals when I was moving around on the mat. I was getting slight arthritis in my left hip. I was getting knee pain. I couldn't do any lateral movement. And I spent previous time in the gym, but because of my bad postural issues, I found it really hard to do exercises properly, like squats and keep good form. So I was always getting pain everywhere. So I needed to find something that I could do, which is basically up and down. And I came across Strong Condition, one of his reels, Lee Hazard, and there's music back in the day. I think it was NWA. It was. It just caught my eye. Him going up and down doing these burpees, making it look so easy. And I thought, oh, maybe I should give that a go. So I had a look, and then one of these things directed me over to the Busy Dad program. And I thought, structured. And I like that. I like the idea that there was structure behind it. Just going around and just doing burpees as many as you can and things like that. I found that was probably not structured enough for me. Yeah. So I went in and I did the test to see where I'll be at. And I think I came in at 1B, quite low. And what I found with the burpees is that I could put myself with my bad posture. So my forward neck, I had anterior pelvic tilt with a twisted hip. But when we're standing up straight, I could get that all in line and I can go up and down. And at first it was very slow. Form was all over the place probably. Look at some old videos compared to now. It's a complete different story. But that's how I got started. So for me, it was more, I was approaching 48 years of age. I'm now 50. I started back in January 2023. And then obviously I came on your program when you started coaching straight away. So it's been 6 months now. So once I came on board with you, I managed to get down to 102, but now I've managed to get down all the way to just under 88. So 87.9 as of today. So I'm really happy with that. And then my progress has been a journey all the way through, plateaus and everything, but I've really, really enjoyed it.
That's wonderful. So we've been working together 6 months. How long have you been using the Busy Dad program?
So I started January, February 2023.
I see. Right.
Yeah. So, and we started in just March, was it? When you started coaching? I can't remember. Yeah.
What had your training been like before we started working together?
It was basically non-existent. A bit of gym work that I had done. I've always tried, because of my role as a judo coach, I'd always try to stay in a bit of shape. But I'm quite a tall guy. Well, I've got taller as my posture's got better. So I was 181, but now I'm 184 centimeters.
Wow.
So, you know, when you get older, now I'm 50, I thought I was gonna be getting shorter, but I'm still growing. No, so yeah, so basically doing more coaching and being less active, the pounds were piling on, but you didn't really notice it because of my height and everything else. It wasn't until I took one good look in the mirror one day and thought, hey, I'm finding it hard to move around now. I'm turning 50. You know, if I don't get something done now, then it's going to be even harder when I get to the 60s to start shifting weight. So that's when I made a commitment to myself. Yeah, something's got to be done about that.
That's amazing. And so here we are, you're 50 years of age,
Yep.
and you've lost nearly 20 kilograms now,
Yep.
and counting. And you
Yep.
said you feel like you're 3 centimeters taller. So let's start by talking about posture.
Yeah.
Have you found that is it the burpees that have had a beneficial effect on your posture, or is it something else? How have you made those improvements?
No, it's basically all the burpees. Yeah, I mean, I had sort of anterior pelvic tilt with twisted hips. Been to physios and that before, and of course you get the exercises, but I never really they never really did me any justice. And in a while, you know, you go through the process of doing all these exercises, and then you get bored,
Yeah.
and you stop doing them. So what I found with, you know, and after watching loads of your videos, you know, about squeezing at the top with your glutes and everything else like that, I just felt that I could really find that I could pull my shoulders back, I could stand straight, and then I can activate there. And I wasn't worried about how many I did at the time. It's more about trying to get my posture engaged. And so the Navy SEALs really, really helped my core. At first, I had my bottom sticking out a bit, and then slowly it came down. And then over the course of the year and a bit, you know, now I'm basically, you know, how I should be, ear in line with shoulder, hip, legs, and I'm basically pain free. Yeah, for the first time in a long, long time. Yeah,
That's so wonderful to hear. I think that a lot of people listening to this, I mean, I'm sure there will be plenty of people listening to this who are looking to fix posture issues. It's really, really good to know that you've found that you've got these alignment benefits just from the burpee training. I can testify, I have exactly the same feeling, that I walk around the world now with an open chest, with my shoulders pinned back and very even. And I'd never made that connection with burpees, but it must be that that's where it's come from. A lot of people listening to this podcast are also people who will be inspired by the fact that you've lost nearly 20 kilograms. Can you talk to people about some of the changes that you've made that have helped you to do that?
Yeah, absolutely. So again, I was you know, watching all the information that you had on your website, and obviously working with you one-on-one. It's been the best thing ever for me. So diet. So I first of all, I've done intermittent fasting before, and I know that shifts weight with me. So that was one thing I went straight back to. I must have, at first, when I was going through the process, I was drinking alcohol, not a lot, but I used to work all week, and then Saturday, Sunday, have a few drinks. But I found with alcohol and burpees, it really stopped. It really made me plateau around about the 100 mark. So the next thing I did is coming back one holiday, I saw your podcast about or your video about Alan Carr. So I had a 6-hour driving journey. So I listened to that on the way back, and then haven't had a drink since. So and that is probably a different story in itself, but that just made me feel over the months so much better. And I was able to keep my regular routine going, which then again gave me more energy, made me lose weight. So basically correcting my diet, intermittent fasting, and quit drinking. Yeah, which some people may find hard, but you know, I used to be a bit of a smoker back in my 20s and 30s. That was hard as well. But after a while, it's kind of like you feel like you don't really need to have a drink anymore. And it's hard to explain in a way. Yeah.
Yeah, I've been really struck through the coaching
Yeah.
at just how many of my guys are people who have turned away from alcohol. It's
Yeah.
one of the common denominators amongst people who are really making progress in this program.
Yeah.
And it's been my experience too. It just makes staying in shape, losing weight, training hard every session, sleeping well at night, everything is so much easier. And conversely, when you've got alcohol in the system, it's just everything is so much harder. You're having to fight for workouts that should be easy for you.
Yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. And my wife's even stopped drinking as well.
Really?
And she's not even on the Busy Dad program.
Oh, that's
But
fantastic.
but what I have found and what's inspiring is like my children and all that are down the gym, and my wife is joining the gym. So they see you in the background doing all these crazy ups and downs, and I think you sort of you rub off on people, you know, and they all want to get active as well. So it doesn't just benefit you; it sort of changes dynamics in the family as well, you know.
That's
Yeah,
so wonderful. And you know, this program is for everybody. For me, it was in the context of fatherhood that I found this way of training, and um, it has a real connection with fatherhood for me. I also I love the idea that a couple of things that you're talking about. I love the idea that my child has an exemplar of someone who is fit and healthy and active and vital. I also really love the idea that there are adults in our children's lives who don't drink alcohol. Because I think I never grew up with any role models of that sort. You know, it just for me there was adulthood and drinking alcohol. They were synonymous. I just couldn't imagine being an adult and not drinking. That seemed like it wouldn't make sense. And I love that we're giving our kids an example of how you can actually be an adult and not have alcohol as any part of your life.
yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Yeah, it's you know, it's yeah. I mean, I said the Busy Dad program, especially when I started coaching, it's done wonders. It's so yeah, so I highly recommend it for everyone. And you know, people might find it hard at the beginning. I mean, I've got my level 1 t-shirt on, still striving for the 2. You know, so over the time I've been doing it, I haven't even got to level 2 yet, and I've had many plateaus along the way. Probably being slightly older than some practitioners. I'm sure there's people my age and even older doing it as well. But I've managed to lose all this weight, get fit, fix my posture, and I'm on 1D for 6 counts, so 182 I think is my PB, and then on the Navy SEALs I'm level 2. I think my PB on them is 85, and that's coming from 25 I think Navy SEALs, and I think I initially checked in around about 55 or 66 counts.
Yeah.
So I initially reached a plateau. Well, my first goal was 100, which I never thought I'd get to that. So to be hitting 180 whatever on my 6 counts now, you know, it's like, wow, where did this come from?
Yeah.
But I've had plateaus over the ways. I've had 100, 125, and then you kind of did a video for me for 135. That was a really tough plateau. Yeah. 125 to 135, 150, and then 160 was tough, and now we're up there a bit higher. So you know, 170 is an easy day, and then you know, we're chasing the 180s and 185s now on the 6 counts, and it's similar with the SEALs as well. So it's been a journey. Yeah.
No, when you came to me, I think maybe you had touched 150 once.
Yeah, yeah.
And now,
and it was and it was in bad posture.
Oh yeah.
So even I think not bad posture, sort of bad form. So even when you know, we'll get into the 150s and 160s, you know, it's like I thought I was doing really well, and then we had a look at the form, and you know, my shoulders were rounded a bit forward, and you know, head forward a bit, and so correct step back, and you know, I found out that I have lats now, so I can lock my shoulders back. Yeah, and the core has got stronger over time. So just, it was just dipping a little bit sometimes in some of the movement. So you can feel when your body feels correct, and you shouldn't get worried if your numbers drop back a bit, because they will do, because you start using muscles that have been weak for ages because they haven't been used.
Yeah.
And then now you're in correct position, and all of a sudden they're working, but they just need a few weeks to catch up with the rest of the body.
Right.
So,
and
yeah,
actually,
well, that's what I found anyway.
Yeah. No, doing it with the proper form allows you to recruit bigger muscle groups.
Yeah.
And eventually, once you've really dialed it in, it'll make the movement easier. And you'll get to
Yeah.
a point where doing it with perfect form is easier than doing half reps because it's so ingrained.
Yeah, absolutely. And your body, it just feels like, I think I said last week to you, it feels like I'm doing burpees on air now. Before, it could be a little bit of pain here or a little bit here, or something's not working here. And then, once your body's in the actual proper form and posture, it's you feel like you're riding a bike, where you're going, rather than, everything's too much hard work. Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. And so when Matthew came to me, 150 was way over the horizon. And now, if Matthew's a bit sick now, and we're taking a week where we're pulling right back into survival mode, and his survival mode is 150. That's
Yeah.
like lower than his floor. That's what we do when we have to survive. And it's funny how I've been at this point so many times in my training where there's some peak where I think there's no way I could go beyond that. And then 4, 5, 6 months later, that peak that I thought I could never get beyond is lower than the floor. But to do that, you have to weather plateaus. And you were just talking about how you've been through quite a few of them. Do you have any advice for people who might be listening to this and in a training plateau? What would your takeaways be from your experience?
Yeah. So, I mean, I think form is key. So if you find videoing yourself, I think is a big thing I learned. So I started videoing a lot of my burpees sessions from day one, not as much now. And then, you can go back and go, oh yeah, that doesn't look quite right. And with the plateaus, I use the follow along video so much. So I try and have like an easy session, and then I'll have the one where the tough session. So what I do is, if I've say we had an easy week the other week, 160. So what I do is I put on the 160 follow along, and that's not that easy, because I think when you cut it by 5 seconds, you get a minute rest. But to make me feel good, I race Max. So Max has got to do his 8 6 counts, and I keep my intensity up, but still do the 8. But I do it faster than Max does. So yeah, I get up there and I'm like, I'll finish my minute, I'll finish, and Max is still on 7. I'm like, come on, Max, hurry up. And so I race Max. And then later on in the week, I've got the 200 follow along on. So I like to have ahead of what I'm trying to achieve, and try and build into a rhythm of what I need to be in. So when I'm doing the 180s, I normally follow the 200 follow along, because that's what I'm striving to get to. And that's where I want to try and pick the pace up. Sometimes it can work against me a little bit, because you get a bit eager sometimes at the beginning. So I've got to say, look, I'm still going for my 180 or 185. So I can pull back a little bit. But then I find chasing Max, is that helps me pull me along. And I think the balance between that is just being patient, and it will happen. I think that's the biggest thing. You think everything's impossible, and then all of a sudden, the 160 becomes easy, and then you're doing the 170, and then then the next challenge is the 175, and it slowly just comes. Your body just adapts.
It does. I really like that idea of you're effectively flipping between the mindset of a student and the mindset of a master in those two sessions, where the one session you're coaching me, and in the other session you're having me coach you. And it's nice to give yourself an opportunity to reflect on the fact that you really have dominated a certain number, like say 90% of your PR, say 160. You know,
Yeah,
to go through that
absolutely.
workout and give yourself an opportunity to remember, like, I'm dominant here, and build up your confidence that way, and then be more humble and go into, you know, you're training with someone who's at a higher level than you are on your push days, and you're trying to keep up with them, and you're kind of being more of a student. I really like moving between those two mindsets.
Yeah, absolutely. And I just find it just works for me. You know, there's all those videos out there, so I like to use them. And it doesn't matter if you get off track or whatever. You know, you just continue going, and you're in your own head. Yeah, you know. So yeah,
So we're 6 months into our work together, Matthew.
yeah,
Um, your spitting distance from level two, the seals are well over the level two line. Six counts are at about 180. Um, we're at 87.8 kilograms right now. Okay, that's 6 months. 6 months we got there,
yeah.
from where you were when you first came to me. What's the next 6 months hold in store for you, my man? What are you aiming for?
Well, I mean, I feel like I've built a base, a bit like running. You have to build your aerobic base, and I feel like I've built my burpee base. So I feel like I'm the time before now has taken it's got me to this stage where I'm efficient.
Yeah.
So now it's just building on that more of an efficient motor to be able to achieve these higher numbers. So the form's there, the you know, the muscles are getting there. So you know, it's all slowly coming together. So you know, I mean, obviously, level two is my next goal.
Yeah.
But you know, but I'm sure level three probably won't be out of the picture, you know, in a year's time or
Yeah.
or whatever.
Absolutely.
So you know,
Absolutely.
yeah,
Yeah, I think
you know,
if we
my sorry,
we'll chase level three next year for sure. We'll get you up to
yeah,
level two, but end of next year, I think you can be up at level three.
yeah. There's one thing I also wanted to mention, like health wise for me. I was suffering high blood pressure, high cholesterol, and things like that. You know, I had a test about a month ago. That's all normal now. I've got a resting heart rate of 44 and a maximum heart rate of 186. So yeah, so I'd encourage anyone who, you know, especially slightly older, you know, yeah, burpees will make you fit and healthy. Yeah,
It's so wonderful. It's been
and,
so
and also
inspiring.
and also mentally, I put myself in for a 10K run race a few weeks ago.
Yeah.
I wanted to see where my burpees fitness got me. I did the same race 10 years ago when I was 40. I think I came in at 105, and I was pretty fit then. I was training for it, so I did this race on minimal running training, and I managed to get under an hour and 57. And normally I would be fighting all the way mentally, but I finished still full of energy. Mentally, the tiredness was not even a challenge compared to what I had to go through between 12 and 14 minutes on the Busy Dad program. So it was kind of mentally, it really helps you as well. Yeah, yeah, just pushing through.
Yeah.
You know, for me, 12 to 14 minutes on the Busy Dad program is where I go into dark places sometimes.
So listen to this, my friends. 80 well spent minutes per week is all it takes. And he's trotting through his 10K like a gazelle,
Yeah,
completely unfazed by the psychological terrors that he used to feel, that I used to feel, that we all used to feel around running. 20 kilograms down, clean bill of health from the doctor. It's been so inspiring to be part of this transformation, Matthew, to see it happening in real time. And as I keep saying to you, we're only at the beginning. We're just getting started. Okay.
yeah, absolutely. You know, I'm very thankful for you know, all your help. It's been great. I mean, having you. I mean, before signing up with yourself, it was very easy just to stop at 100 or think, oh, I'll do that tomorrow. But you know, being coached under yourself, it really keeps you on the straight and narrow, and you know, it makes you want to turn up. And it's a pleasure to look forward to catching up for these meetings every week, and going, yes, I've done this, or wasn't quite the week I expected. But whatever it is, it doesn't matter, because every week's a new week. So you just got to keep turning up, and it's all consistency. That's one thing I've learned out of all of this. It's all consistency. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's how you build something of lasting value and something with really strong foundations. You just never miss a session. Week in, week out, you do the work. Okay. And what will happen is, for a long period, you won't see that many results because you're building. And when the foundation is strong, the results start flooding in and they just keep coming. I remember we've been at plateaus with the weight stuff, with the numbers. You just keep showing up week in, week out, and suddenly you blink and you're 10 kilograms down, and then 20 kilograms down, and the numbers are moving forward. That's what it's been like with you, hasn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the weight, big time plateau. I mean, we were sitting around sort of 90 kilograms, 91. The body didn't want to move. And then, slowly started moving. It doesn't like doing things consistently. It wants to, I'll give you this. And then we're going to hold you here for a bit, make you work for it. And then I'll give you a bit more.
Yeah. Well, man,
you got to earn it.
You got to earn it. And I have every confidence that you will continue to earn it week in and week out. My friend Matthew, it's been so great to have you on the podcast. Let's get you back on 6 months' time. Let's see where you're at. We'll be knocking on the door of level 3, another 10 kilograms down. Let's keep doing what we're doing, my friend. And thank you so much for sharing your insights and your experiences with the listeners.
No, thank you so much for having me on. And no, thank you to everyone who's been on already. Their stories have been fantastic and a real inspiration. Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. Well, thank you, my friend. I'll see you again soon. Thanks, everybody.
Yeah, thanks, Matthew. Max,
absolutely.
Thank you.
Thank you, my man. That was episode 6 of the Busy Dad podcast. Check out the other episodes in the playlist and come back next week for another brilliant episode. Thanks all of you so much.